Part 3rd. The hypothesis scientifically tested and confirmed. It follows that man, issuing from a mother region, still undetermined, but with a number of considerations indicate to have been in the north, has radiated in several directions. That his migrations have been constantly from north to south. M. Lamarquis, G. Despartosa, in Popular Science Monthly, October 1883, page 753. Eine jede Riese, welche nach der Eisenmügden Inneswelt im Norden Amerikas unter normalen Werte weiß von Anzeichen der einmaligen Anwesenheit eines Volkes zu erzählen, welches Länder bewohnte, die heute keine menschliche Fuß mehr zu betreten scheint. Dr. F. Bose in Zeitschrift der Gesellschaft für Erdkunde in Berlin. Chapter 1. The Testimony of Geogony, or the Science of the Origin of the Earth. Les lois générales de la géologie favorisent d'une façon remarquable les hypothèses dont nous venons déboucher le trait. Count Saporta. Could it once be proven that the Arctic terminus of the Earth has always been the icebound region which it now is, and which for thousands of years it has been? If it would, of course, be useless to entertain for a moment the hypothesis that the cradle of the human race was there located. Probably the popular impression that from the beginning of the world the far north has been the region of unendurable cold has been one of the chief reasons why our hypothesis is so late in claiming attention. At the present time, however, so far as this difficulty is concerned, scientific studies have abundantly prepared the way for the new theory. That the Earth is a slowly cooling body is a doctrine now all but universally accepted. In saying this, we say nothing for or against the so-called nebular hypothesis of the origin of the world, for both friends and foes of this unproven hypothesis believe in what is termed the secular cooling or refrigeration of the Earth. All authorities in this field hold and teach that the time was when the slowly solidifying planet was too hot to support any form of life, and that only at some particular time in the cooling process was there a temperature reached which was adapted to the necessities of living things. On what portion of the Earth's surface now would this temperature first be reached? Or would it everywhere be reached at the same time? These are most interesting questions, and the writer has often marveled that in scientific treatises on the cooling globe he could nowhere find them formally discussed. Granting, however, a uniform interior heat and a uniform loss of it in the mode of superficial radiation in all directions into space, it is certain that if these were the only factors in the problem, the cooling process would affect every part of the surface in a uniform manner, and we might confidently infer that the temperature compatible with organic life was reached at the same time at all points of the Earth's surface. But the factors named are not the only ones of the problem. In those far-off geologic ages, the heat received from the great central furnace of our system, the Sun, cannot have been less than at the present time. Some astronomers and geologists claim that it was greater. In any case, therefore, as early as the time when the Earth's atmosphere became penetrable by the rays of the Sun, local differences of temperature must have been produced at the base of the atmosphere, where the body of the globe was as yet crusted over or not. Then as now, viewed apart from air and water currents, every particular spot on the surface of the globe must have had a temperature determined, first by the fixed and uniform inherent heat of the Earth mass, and secondly by the varying quantity of heat received from the Sun. But the difference between the solar heat received at a point under the equator and that received at a point at the pole cannot have been less in those ages than at the present time, and this incessant increment of the equatorial heat of the Earth by the direct rays of the Sun suggests at once the portions of the globe to which we must look if we would find the regions which first became cool enough to sustain organic life. Then as now, the polar regions must have been cooler than the equatorial, and hence, as far as the teachings of theoretical geogeny can be trusted, the conclusion is inevitable that there, to wit, in the polar regions, life first became possible. The bearing of this result upon our central thesis is at once obvious. We ask the geologist this question: is the hypothesis of a primeval polar Eden admissible? Looking at the slowly cooling Earth alone, he replies, Eden conditions have probably at one time or another been found everywhere upon the surface of the Earth. Paradise may have been everywhere. Looking at the cosmic environment, however, he adds, but while paradise may have been anywhere, the first portions of the Earth's surface sufficiently cool to present the conditions of Eden were assuredly at the poles.